Welcome to the Building Blocks of Business, a podcast show where we dive in and explore various aspects of the business world. This show is brought to you by ESSEC and NITK in association with NITK Toastmasters Club. I am your host, Teerth Savla, final year BTech student from the Department of Chemical Engineering. Today, you are listening to the second episode of our season 1, the ABCs of Applying to a Business School. In today's conversation, we have with us Pranav Ram and Bhanu Yashwantyanduri. Graduating in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Pranav Ram is an NITK alumnus from the batch of 2014. Pranav has assumed several roles at Goldman Sachs, Amadeus IT Group, White Shield Partners, and is currently working at Bain and Company. Pranav has been a business student at HEC Paris and HKUST Hong Kong with a CEMS dual degree. He has lived and worked in the Netherlands, France, UAE, Belgium, and Hong Kong. He is also a founder of MImentor.com, a service that helps prepare individuals with their MIM application at affordable rates. Our second guest today is Bhanu Yashwantyanduri. Yashwant is an NITK alumnus, graduating in 2017 as a chemical engineer. He has assumed several roles at Reliance Industries Limited and ZS Associates. He pursued his Masters in Management from the Parisian ESSEC Business School in 2019. He has also been the president of ESSEC and NITK and the founder of the annual flagship event, eSummit. It's great to have both of you here with us. How's the weather in the City of Lights?
Pretty warm, actually.
Thanks for inviting us, Teerth. Really happy to be here and happy to be talking to you about the ABCs of applying to a business school. I'm currently in Brussels, Belgium, and it's actually rainy here. It's how Suratkal would be in the month, let's say August or July.
Wow, I can imagine that. Even here in Mumbai, it's raining cats and dogs. So let's dive into our podcast. So, first things first, when it comes to masters, many people are confused between the various options available to them: Masters in Management, Masters in Engineering Management, and Masters in Business Administration. What factors did you consider before choosing a MIM? Yashwant?
Okay. So actually, one of the main factors was Pranav. He helped me a lot in understanding what MIM was at the beginning. So basically, usually for MIM, you usually need like 1 to 2 years of work experience, whereas for MBA, you generally require 3 to 5 years minimum of work experience. And I was looking to delve into the business side of companies as such at the beginning. And MIM was a good way of shifting from the engineering side to the business side and to learn about the business aspects as such. Also, MIM is like a program where it's more flexible. Like you can learn about all the various aspects before going into what you want to specifically go into. So that was something which really intrigued me because I wasn't exactly sure which aspect of business I was completely into. But through this, I would be able to figure out where exactly I want to go into. And yeah, Europe was a different place. It's a different
Okay.
environment as
So the
such,
work
and
experience really
that's one of the
matters
reasons also
when
why I
you
wanted to
choose from
pursue
MIM and
the
MBA.
plans.
What about you, Pranav?
Yeah, I think it was similar but slightly different for me. Like I completely agree with what Yashwant was saying, and I remember like a couple of years ago we had a conversation when Yashwant was applying to ESSEC, and I fully agree. I think MIM, Masters in Management, right? It's like a business degree for college graduates or young professionals. So you can also apply without any work experience. You can apply with up to 2 years of work experience. And the MBA, on the other hand, is for really experienced professionals with work experience ranging from, I don't know, 4 to 8 years or even more. Okay. So that's why I think the decision between an MIM and an MBA is a very personal decision. You have to make that decision when you feel it's the right time to do the degree. For me, more personally, I was in a position where I had finished like around 1 year of work, and I was really looking to make that transition and move to the business side and a business role. And I saw this degree as a perfect enabler to kind of help me make that transition. And like Yashwant said, I was looking for international exposure. I was looking for flexibility. I was looking for a degree that gave me the opportunity to explore different options. And that's also why I think like the MIM, like it gives you the option of a gap year. Most of the MIMs do, where you can kind of decide your own curriculum. You're not kind of put into this fixed cookie cutter approach of like, okay, first year, second year, graduate. You can do first year, you can do like an internship, you can do a gap year, and then you can specialize in like multiple things. So it gives you the time to explore. And I think that's one of the biggest difference, right, between an MIM and an MBA. Of course, financially and tuition fees wise, an MBA is like double or triple the cost of an MIM. But in terms of flexibility and in terms of who the program is for, MIM is for fundamentally a different kind of student.
All right. So it's mainly for people who want to shift to business roles very quickly after they graduate, and even it offers some kind of international exposure plus the flexibility of deciding your own curriculum. That's a really good thing about MI. So Pranav, can you tell me more about your time at HEC Paris?
Sure. It was so I started HEC in 2016. So this was 4 years ago, and I only graduated last year. And I didn't graduate so late because I failed a few courses. That wasn't the reason, but it was because the program was so long. It was 2 years long, and I decided to take a gap year in between. And overall, it was a wonderful journey. Going into HEC or going into France, it's not like I had a specific connection to France or family in France. So I pretty much went there with no friends, no family. And I was willing to kind of like take that plunge into a new country, into a new business school. And I'm surprisingly positively happy about this decision. Absolutely no regrets, because looking back, it's been like a great transformation journey. And fun fact, HEC Paris is not in Paris. Okay, it's a little bit away from Paris, just like how ESSEC Business School is not exactly in Paris. It's a little bit away. So when I was the first day I was arriving at campus, they actually organized a shuttle bus from us. And the journey was kind of similar to like how far it is from Mangalore to Suratkal. So and then we were going and going and going, and we passed through some farms and fields. I could see some cows, and I was like, okay, this is like like Suratkal all over again. We are in the middle of nowhere, and the campus is like literally there's nothing around it, and it's just the campus and the people on campus. But that's what make the experience like quite special, because like it forces you to really connect with your peers and your classmates, and you build friends for a lifetime. And I think a little bit more about my program in specific. So I did my first year just like everyone. You learn the fundamentals of management, everything from marketing and strategy and finance. And then in my gap year, I really took the opportunity to understand where I wanted to work and where I wanted to live. So I did 4 internships in 4 different countries, namely like Amsterdam, south of France, Dubai, and Brussels in Belgium. And my last internship in Belgium was at Bain, and that's where I felt like, okay, I really want to live and work here. I love the work, and the city was also nice. And also the second year of HEC, I decided to specialize in SEMS. SEMS is a wonderful concept. It's an alliance of business schools, 33 business schools all over the world. And you get to choose and do an exchange semester in any of these business schools. Okay. So I chose Hong Kong, HKUST Hong Kong, simply because I wanted to live in East Asia, and that was an area I'd never lived and worked in. So I thought, okay, it would be interesting to understand how it is to do business in Asia. And this was before the unrest and violence in Hong Kong last year. So I think this was my overall HEC experience, and like looking back at it, I would love to kind of do it all over again. And some of my closest friends in Europe are also now from HEC, and it's funny how you in NITK you spend 4 years there and you build friends, like you know them really well and they're your good friends. Similarly, you spend 3 years in a business school and you have like friends who are as good as your friends in NITK. So that was about my time at HEC.
Your time at HEC really sounds enriching because you had so much variety over there, and you were able to do so many internships, try out different stuff, and even live and work in a different part of the world. That's something I look forward to. So, how was your experience at ESSEC Business School, Yashwant?
So it's a bit similar, but yeah, I've just completed 1 year right now. I started in August 2019, and I just completed my first year like a couple of days back at ESSEC. It has been an enriching experience. It's a bit different from NITK. I think like the way of education and the methods of teaching are completely different over here. And the profs over here are really helpful as such, and you can reach out to them at any point of time, and they know what they're like. They're really into whatever they're doing, and you can help them out in projects and stuff over here. Apart from that, I think the crowd over here is also really good. I mean, you can interact with anyone and gain a lot of insights. The fact is, everyone is from a different background, and all of them have different experiences as such. Like some don't have work experience, some have 2 years, some have 3 years. So each of them has a different insight on what they want to do and what they want to get into. And like learning about that helps you also gain a perspective of what exactly you might want to get into as well. So in the first year, you have a choice of getting into chairs and tracks as well. So chairs are basically partnerships with industries as such, where a couple of companies will be sponsoring a couple of projects where you will be working along with a couple of students, and you'll also be doing certain courses related to to the subjects that matter. So there are chairs like digital disruption and leadership and diversity as such, where you learn about topics on which are relevant in the industry right now. And I was involved in this chair called Innovation in Health. So I was working with this company called MGen, and the chair was sponsored by Sanofi Genzyme also. So we were working with these companies and working on projects related to innovation in health as such. So it was a good perspective for me to learn about all the various facets of the health industry, and it gave me it gave me insight of what I might get into if I go into this industry as such. And apart from that, you have also options of a track where you can take certain subjects related to the business field you might want to get into. Like if you want to get into economics or finance, you can take like 5-6 subjects related. It's basically like a minor, so you'll do like 5-6 subjects, and you'll get a certificate saying that you've completed a track which will help you into this certain field. So that's also something which I'm pursuing, trying to get into the business analytics track as such. Apart from that, I think like the experience over here is like different. Like it's in a hostel, and again, it's pretty fun over there, and you get to travel around quite a bit with the friends over here. So you'll like learn, like you'll have a lot of fun basically. And yeah, like what Pranav said, the people over here are very good, and you'll be friends with them for a long period of time as such.
So just your first year at ESSEC has been so diversified for you, I guess. You have had an opportunity to try out various programs and even internships. So that's really good. Also, for the people who are listening from NITK, ESSEC and HEC are both located a bit far away from Paris. So it will be just like taking a shuttle to Mangalore. So ESSEC and HEC Paris are one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. Can you tell me about your application to this program, including your preparation strategies and resume building for the same? Pranav?
Yeah, sure. So I think application to the program, application to any business school, right? I think you have to really feel like you connect with the program. Like you should feel like the program is for you and is the right thing for you given your situation in your career. You could be just graduating from NITK, or you could be like working for 1 year or 2 years. But you really have to read enough about what the university offers and what the program offers. And surprisingly, most of this information is available on the website. No surprises there, but like people don't look at the website enough. And I think how I can tell you how I went about selecting like business schools and how I went about preparing my application. I looked at of course I looked at the program and what kind of like what it offered and what the post graduation opportunities were, like what are the career events and like where do the alumni usually go towards, what kind of jobs they take up. But of course, other than that, I think location and reputation of the university are also like two other important factors. You just have to go to a university that is, let's say, popular in the country. I mean, there's a reason we all study in NITK Surathkal, right? It's got this brand, it's got this reputation, and that also reflects in the students who study there. So similarly, HEC and ESSEC are universities that are very well reputed in France and also in Europe. So think of it as like the number one and number two university in the country. So everyone recruiters who come there or students who come there are going to be of a certain quality, and that makes your overall experience really good. And this is, I can't stress how important it is to, like select the right business school for you, simply because you're making a decision of spending 2-3 years in like another country or studying another program. You're spending thousands of euros, so it better be like a good decision. Now, moving on to the application, right? I think the application what I realized was that throughout my application and in the last 2-3 years of helping people with their application, the most important component of the application is your essay questions, or your SOP, as they call it in the masters GRE world in the US. SOP, or your essays, really are the most subjective element of your application, and they can like make or break your chances. A good essay will make your application stand out. Now, what do I mean by good essay? A good essay is basically a really good story, a convincing and comprehensive story that conveys like your motivation to study in the business school. So it should connect like your past, like what you've done before, what you're doing now, and why the business school fits in your future plans. And all of this should be kind of like woven together in a really nice story, and it should be made such that it differentiate I mean you can differentiate yourself from other candidates, because we come from a country of billion people. There are thousands of people who apply to business schools, HEC, ESSEC, or any business school. So you really have to like stand out and like build this unique story. Now you don't have to like, I know you asked me, like, how do you build your resume for the same. I think you should just do the things you like. You don't have to particularly like, say that, okay, I will do this activity just to build my resume for the MIM. Then I think it never works that way, because like you're not putting in your 100% into that activity. So do the things you like. But then once you've, once you're at this point when you're applying for a university, reflect and think about like the things that motivate you to do whatever you have done. Like what are those internal or inherent like characteristics or personality traits that make you stand out and that really define you. And this is what you need to bring in your essays and in your application. Now, there are other components, like, of course, an MIM application is not just essays. There's your CV. You need a really clean and understandable and nice CV. You have your GMAT or GRE. Some of them accept GRE now. Some of them accept CAT scores now. So give yourself some time to prepare for the GMAT or GRE and get a good 700 plus in GMAT or a 320 plus in GRE. And if you don't, it's fine. You can still compensate yourself with other things, other parts of the application. Then there's the letters of recommendation, and of course your academic transcripts and your GPA from your undergraduate university. So there are a lot of things that go into your application, right? But essentially, I'd like to, for all the listeners here, like I think the most important thing is your essay, and writing a good essay takes time. And I think if you focus, like give yourself enough time on that, I think you can really like make yourself stand out and submit a good application.
All right. So the application strategy is a bit similar to how we would apply to other business schools, and you have to focus on building an innovative, unique, and coherent essays, like all of them. Hmm. All right. What about your strategy, Yashwant?
Uh, so yeah, mine was a bit similar to Pranav. Like he actually helped me out a lot with this. But yeah, so I think the first thing is figuring out where you want to go. Without that, it's tough to decide like which business school to take, because a lot of people just apply without knowing like what each school offers as such, and that makes it really hard once you enter the school. So I think you really have to go and look into what each school offers, what are the various subjects, what are the various options and career options that you can get into after this, and what you might be able to do and achieve over there. So that's very important. Yeah, the second part, the application questions and the motivation letters are very important. You have to be very thorough with whatever you do. You have to be. I think you have to be a bit honest with yourself, and be honest in the applications as such, and that's very important. Be genuine about who you are. But yeah, you have to portray yourself in a good manner and portray yourself in a manner which is different from what everyone else would be, and that's very important. Yeah, for me it was a bit different because I applied through my CAT scores as such. I didn't apply through my GMAT score, so it was a bit different for me that way. Um, uh, so I think a good GMAT score or a good GRE score is also really essential. So it's important to start like 3-4 months before preparations for that as well, and get a decent score. And ideally, you would also like to apply in the first 2 or 3 rounds because it gives you a better chance, as it is a bit of a rolling type of admissions as well. So apply a bit earlier. You'll have a much more good chances of getting into the college as well. And yeah, get your essays correct. That's what I'd say. That's like the most important point of it. And I think we have an interview also in the ending process. So that's more about how your resume and your application questions are. So if you've been like, you know your resume thoroughly and you know your essays very thoroughly, you'll do it really well in the interviews as such.
All right. So thanks a lot to the two of you. I think the crux of this would be the two important things, which is first, identify the business school that suits your purpose. Just go to the website or even talk to the alumni. That's the major part of your application process, identifying which school to apply to. And second would be to build on your essay, which, helps you stand out among the billion other participants or applications that they'll be receiving.
I think it's an important point you brought up there, Teeth, like on connecting with alumni as well. I mean, Yashwant, thanks for bringing it up. Like, even I spoke to a lot of people who had studied MIM before and who had been there, and that helped a lot. That helped a lot because it gives you perspective and it gives you inputs that you can't find on websites or you can't find like on the university pages. So it's good. It's good. That's also quite important. Anyone applying, please reach out to people who have like gone through the same career path or who have like kind of achieved what you want to achieve, and connect with them, and like they'll be more than happy to help you out, most of them, because like they were in a very similar situation as you were in. So yeah.
True. Yeah. What kind of experience would you recommend before applying for an MIM degree, Pranav?
Honestly, I think there's no, I wouldn't say there's one particular kind of work experience, because simply looking at the students who come to an MIM degree, right? People come from very different work experiences. There are some who have worked in like manufacturing. There are some who have worked in IT, consulting, or like, like Yashwant worked in ZS Associates. I worked in Goldman Sachs. It's very, very different. Honestly, the any experience you do, and I'm not answering your question on what kind of experience, but I'm just going to say that any experience that you take up or any job that you take up, just make sure that you can talk about it in a convincing way when you apply for your MIM degree. And what this means is that you should be clearly showing that, okay, like you took that job for a reason, and now you're moving on from that job for a reason. And what you did during that work experience, you had like significant impact. You built some good like promoters, people who would talk good about you, and like you learned a lot from it. Essentially, if you can like kind of tick off these boxes, like show that you have learned a lot from it and built enough promoters and show that you have had impact in that work, any experience works. Okay. And it can also be like a startup of your own. It can also be like maybe you volunteered for 1 year in an NGO, and like you said that, okay, like teaching is important for me or helping out people is important for me. Any experience works. But you just have to think of it this way, right? If you're really, really focused on an MIM and you're sure about it, graduating from NIT Surathkal, like I didn't know that I wanted to do an MIM. This is the honest answer. I didn't even know what an MIM was. Okay. And I only found out about it like 1 year or 1.5 years into my job. So I didn't even like pick my job thinking that, okay, like I want to, finally end up in this business school. So if you do think that way, if you know for sure I want to do an MIM, and I receive like a lot of messages sometimes on LinkedIn from people who are in their third year or second year who tell me, hey, like I'm pretty sure that I want to do an MIM. And I'm like, wow, man, like I mean, this is really good. Like, if you know for sure that you want to do an MIM in your second year, that's pretty great. But if you know for sure, then I would suggest join a job that is something, of course, you will enjoy, but that is something that is different from the usual, right? I mean, if you join an IT company, or if you join a, I don't know, consultancy, or one of those typical college placements, the chances that someone else from that company is also applying to your business school are quite high, so you have to
True.
really apply for basically like a job that is unique in a certain way, but that is only if you know for sure in your second year or third year, and then you plan in advance. But I would strongly recommend against doing that, simply because it's not natural, like it's not natural, and you probably might not enjoy it. So yeah, long story short, just any kind of experience works.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Yashwant?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much to the point. Experiences, like it's not exactly mandatory as such. There are a lot of people over here who still don't have work experience. But yeah, if you're getting into any work experience as such, be a bit passionate about it, and do what you feel happy about, so that even when you speak about it, you'll be like more into it, and you can explain it much more better. So yeah, that's what I would say is more important. Because over here, like the backgrounds are very different. There are people from pharmacy backgrounds, there are people from who've done like physics in their undergraduates. So everyone over here has come from different backgrounds, and you won't exactly know like what might be the different factors as such. Just be passionate about what you do, and that's good enough for getting into it.
Right. There's no right answer. I mean, you can do anything and you should basically enjoy doing that. What are you doing right now, and what role does your MIM degree play in your current job slash future endeavors, Yashwant?
Yeah, so I currently just finished my first year, and I'm looking for internships and apprentices, probably in business consulting or analytical roles as such. So
Yeah, Sean,
my
maybe you
mom is
should tell them what apprentissage is. Maybe people who do not know, they may not be familiar with it, right?
yeah, sure. So an apprentice is basically a contract between the college and the company as such, where you'll be either working for like 12 months or 24. It's basically a 12-month or a 24-month contract where you'll be working half the time and where you'll be studying half the time. So the benefit of the apprentice contract as such is they completely pay for your tuition fees and they'll be giving you like a salary every single month. So financially, it is one of the best options to get your tuition fees covered and be set for the rest of your life. Like you don't have to give your loans as such. So in that way, it's a really good thing. But I think a lot of people take out internships because in that way you'll be more you'll choose roles which are much more passionate and much more closer to you, and you can explore more options as such instead of being tied down to a company for 2 years. So if you really know what you want to get into and you really know what specific role you want to get into, then an apprentice contract is one of the best ways to uh, complete your MIM as such over here. And yeah, so currently I'm looking for roles in this space, and I think my MIM degree has played a role in because it has helped me understand the business. It has set the business foundations for me to get into these roles. And when I have like interviews, I can explain about what I want to do, and because of what I've learned, and also build on how to present cases, and do like the basic work which you'll be doing at the company. You'll get the basic understanding of it at the college, and that's what's helped me a lot over here. I think Pranav would give you a much more better answer because he's been working in this space already.
Yeah, sure. Pranav, what do you think?
So in terms of my current job, I'm working in strategy consulting in Brussels, and which is a quite an international environment, given that like I'm not in my home country. I'm in Belgium, and like the office is also quite diverse. There are a lot of course, there are a lot of Belgians, but there are of course a lot of expats as well. And what an international business school really prepares you for is to be able to work in an international and diverse environment and to take up challenges, like even though they are something you would have never done before. And that's exactly what, and I'm going to draw a very similar, very nice analogy here. In a business school, every course requires you to like work in group projects, and these group projects are usually with teams or in groups of 4 or 5. And these people, you might have never met these people before, or you might have never interacted much with these people before. That's the first thing. Second thing is you would have never worked with people of that culture or that nationality, and every culture comes with their own nuances. The way and the style of working, the style of communication is different. So you have to go through this group project for your course, and normally it counts, at least in HEC, it counted like typically 40% to 50% of your grade. So like your
Wow.
main exam or the test that you write is not as important as your group project. And
Hmm.
sometimes this group project runs from like 1 month to like 3 months throughout the duration of the course. So you have to be prepared to like work with these people you've never worked with before, get the whole team motivated, and everyone has to work towards a common goal. At job, I'm doing something very similar, where like every project in consulting, I work with a new team, I work with new people, and sometimes it's people from the same country, sometimes it's people from different countries. So what the MIM really prepares you for is like these challenges at work, personal or professional, and basically working and being comfortable with people from different cultures. Apart from that, also I think an MIM really prepares you to, or like builds you into like this business leader kind of, in your own way, right? I mean, none of us are like CEOs yet, but I think like you can you can easily like picture yourself or like think that you could be one
just because you've attended this business school, because it gives you the confidence, it gives you like the skills, it gives you the network, and like I think that the mere boost that a business school has in your just the way you look at things is great.
Pranav, you mentioned the importance of how the group project was in your curriculum and how it added to more weightage than the regular exams. And it makes a lot of sense because that's what you do in your future endeavors and even job capacities. The team collaboration quality is really important to learn. So that's really great how these business schools accord so much weightage to group projects. Pranav, you are a founder of MIM Mentor, which is a wonderful initiative that helps people prepare for their MIM applications at a much affordable rate rather than the other competitors in the market. So, can you tell us about the inception of MIM Mentor and about how it has helped people in their MIM applications?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I think MI Mentor is, I mean, it's an application platform where people can, of course, like get help with the application. But more than that, it's also like a mentoring platform, because like the people who are going to help you with your application are going to be like people like me and Yashwant, who are students of a business school or who have recently graduated from a business school. So I think how it started was while I was in my first year at HEC, I got a lot of like requests from friends and family or even like acquaintances from LinkedIn who said, "Hey, I'm looking to apply. I want to take a similar journey as you did, and I want to apply to HEC, ESSEC, or a business school for MIM. Can you help me out? Like, can you have a call with me? Can you help me figure out which school should I apply to?" And soon that call ended up being like, after 2 weeks, I was helping them with their essays. And I was like saying that, okay, like I'm more than happy to have a look at your essay. I helped them prepare for their interview. So I did this for over like 20 or 30 or 40 candidates for free. I was just doing it out of goodwill. I was like, okay, I was in a very similar situation. I was reaching out to people when I was applying. And then I thought that I was getting good at it. And I was getting like better at like helping people with their, applications and giving them good advice. And soon I had a conversation with a couple of my good friends, one from HEC, one from ESSEC, and they were also doing the same actually. One of them is in the education space and the other is working in UK now. So we decided to start MIM Mentor, and the whole idea was to basically think of like the person who would be helping out with you with your application as a mentor. You can basically ask any question to, and this is a mentor you keep in touch with even after you, let's say, finish your application, because the real journey starts once you finish your application, right? And once you get into the business school, that's when you're making that transition, and that's when you really need a mentor to like help you out with different things. And that's the whole purpose of MI Mentor, is that like we're more than just a typical educational consultancy. And what I also heard from a lot of the our clients or even people I helped was that the educational consultancies in India were basically not giving them realistic or like actual advice, because they had never been to a business school, or they had never like even set foot on the campus of a business school. So they were sitting in India and working on their essays. Maybe they're producing great essays, but what a business school or like an MIM admissions committee really looks for is how well you connect with the business school. Like, are you the right fit for the business school? Is the business school the right fit for you? So it has to be like a two-way match. And that's something that we can provide, since we have actually been and studied in that business school. So that's what it is. And like basically how we do it is we take you through the entire application roadmap, right from how to shortlist and which universities to apply, to understanding like the timelines and the different application deadlines, and what kind of like the requirements are for each application of a business school. And we do the first part actually for free. We do a profile evaluation call, that's what we call it. And basically it's a call where we go through the CV of the applicant, and based on the profile we ask them a few questions and we understand, okay, which would be the right schools for them. And post that, if they're interested to like really work on the application with us, they can sign up for one of our services. So that's MIM Mentor in a nutshell.
So the experience of all the mentors at mimmentor.com is what primarily distinguishes it from other consultancy services. Plus, another good thing that I really liked about this is it doesn't stop when you get your dream university. rather it continues. And that's the, I think, most difficult part, because when you mentioned about the gap year and other services or other platforms that the college offers, you don't know what to do and what internships you should go for. And this, if the service still continues, it's really good. So yeah. Hmm. Yashwant, so what was the role that NITK played in your journey? You are also the founder of eSummit, which is the annual flagship event of ESSEC NITK. Can you tell us more about your visions and motivation behind eSummit?
So I think NITE, the main thing that really helped me was the crowd as such, like the people that you meet over there, the ideas that they share, and the vision that they have is very different from other colleges that you might go to, and that's something that helps out quite a lot. And also the opportunity to work in various associations and clubs, and develop yourself individually. That's something that helped me quite a lot over there, and that actually gave me a bit of insight into why I want to get into business, and why I want to do certain roles as such. And coming to eSummit, so it actually started when we had gone in a final year to eSummit IIT Bombay. A few of us had gone from college, and we had a really good experience there. We got to interact with a lot of entrepreneurs who are very big in the Indian startup ecosystem as such. We saw events where people were funding startups right on the spot, and we were like, if you are in a culture like this, you're definitely going to get into entrepreneurship as such. And NITK has had some really good startups in the past, like Taxi for Sure and Tractor as such. And over the last few years, like there have been startups, but it's kind of stagnated a bit. People are not that interested into the ecosystem, and ESL as a club is supposed to inspire and motivate people into this space. And we thought eSummit would be a perfect event for students to learn about entrepreneurship, learn about the various aspects, the various facets, and what are the difficulties in building your own company, and also provide a platform where investors can come and invest into the startups which are coming in college as such. And yeah, so that is the main reason behind which why we built eSummit, and also to give a spark back to ESL. We had lost a bit of spark over the last few years, and we just wanted to regenerate the interest into the club as such.
Okay, that's great to know how ESL really helped you in your journey. I think Pranav and Yashwant, both of you have been a part of ESL and ITK. ESL back then was known as E4, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that actually. It was called Euphoria back then. I don't know when I think it changed to ESL in our final year or 1 year after we graduated. Maybe 2014 or 15. Yeah, 2015. Yeah, it was called Euphoria, Forum for Entrepreneurship Awareness. That's what it was called. And yeah, we didn't do things as cool as eSummit back then, but it was still quite active. You would be surprised how active it was. We had a good team. We organized a TEDx in 2012. We organized quite a few
Oh,
events actually, like for startups. There was actually one event where the entire eCell was working on business plans. So we split them into groups, and we were working on business plans, small ideas, bootstrapped, but it was also a nice experience. But yeah, good memories, huh? Really good memories.
it's nice to know how our club has evolved from that, and it has been doing these great things from a long time. I am surprised to know that. Okay. So, with that, we come to an end of today's episode. Thank you, Pranav and Yashwant, for your insights on the MIM program and for sharing your journey with our listeners. I'm sure this podcast will be very useful for people who are confused about the Masters in Management degree or want to know more about the preparation involved in the same. Thanks a lot to the two of you for taking out time for this, especially early in the morning at 8 o'clock.
No worries. Happy to help. And I think I'd just like to add a small note. Like if anyone needs any help, like or if you're confused, feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me on LinkedIn or yeah, I think LinkedIn's probably the best way. And yeah, I'm more than happy to help out, especially if it's an NITK student. There's a special connection. So yeah, good luck.
So, NITK students, yeah, do connect with Yashwant and Pranav on LinkedIn. Yashwant, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us here. I think this is a very great initiative and it helped out a lot of guys. And yeah, if you need any help at any point of time, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. at any point.
That's great. Thanks a lot for being there for all of us. We'll definitely hit you up on LinkedIn. I would also like to thank our listeners. I hope you took away something valuable from today's episode of the ABCs of applying to a B school. Until next time, stay home, stay safe, and stay strong. Thank you very much.